Captain Alex Monroe had faced countless dangerous situations in the far reaches of space, but nothing quite prepared them for this moment. The corridors of the Zyrathian flagship were vast and alien, with walls that shimmered faintly in colors that humans had no names for. The air smelled faintly metallic, like iron mixed with ozone, and every sound, every footstep, echoed with an eerie resonance. Alex had been sent as an envoy, a negotiator, to discuss a potential trade agreement with the Zyrathians. In theory, it should have been straightforward. In practice, they were about to learn that the universe had a sense of humor. When they entered the main chamber, Alex's jaw tightened at the sight of Varkin the Red. The Warlord was enormous, easily twice the size of a human, with crimson-hued skin that seemed almost alive as it pulsed faintly with energy. His eyes were a deep amber, glowing softly, and they fixed on Alex with a focus that made the human's pulse quicken. Behind him, an array of Zyrathian officers stood silent and motionless, their attention fully on their leader. Alex cleared their throat and offered a confident smile. "Captain Alex Monroe, representing the Terran Alliance," they said, bowing slightly. "I hope we can have a productive discussion today." Varkin tilted his massive head, regarding Alex with what seemed like mild amusement. His voice when he spoke was deep and resonant, shaking the walls. "Productive, you say? Humans speak boldly for such fragile creatures." Alex's mind raced. Bold, yes, but fragile. That was an understatement. They fought the urge to glance around for the nearest exit. "Well," Alex said, keeping their tone light, "fragile is one way to describe us, but we have our strengths too." Varkin's lips, or what passed for lips on his alien face, curved into a smile. It was a strange smile, one that didn't promise safety but didn't threaten immediate harm either. Alex swallowed nervously. There was something unnerving about this warlord's calm, as if he were enjoying a game that only he fully understood. Trying to lighten the mood, Alex made a small joke, perhaps too quickly. "I suppose with a face like yours you'd make a cute wife," they quipped, immediately regretting the words as they left their mouth. The chamber fell into a strange, almost tangible silence. The Zyrathian officers blinked once in unison, then stared at Alex as if processing an alien concept. Varkin did not respond with outrage. He did not roar or snarl or strike. He merely smiled. That same unnerving, calculating smile, and then without a word he gestured to the doors. The doors slid shut with a hiss, sealing Alex inside the chamber. A chill ran down their spine. I didn't mean," Alex began, but Varkin raised a massive hand, signaling for silence. "I heard what you said," the Warlord said. His voice carried a hint of amusement, but it was impossible to read the rest of his intent. "And it intrigues me." Alex froze, intrigued. That was not the reaction they expected. "Intrigued," they echoed, trying to keep their voice steady. "You mean you're not going to attack me?" Varkin's amber eyes narrowed slightly, though the smile never left his face. "Attack you? No, humans are curious creatures. Bold, unpredictable, and unlike any species I have met. Your words, they reveal something about you that I wish to understand." Alex's heart beat faster, but a spark of curiosity flared. Here they were in the presence of an alien warlord who could crush them without effort, yet he seemed more interested in conversation than conflict. Taking a deep breath, Alex decided to play along. "Well," they said, forcing a grin, "you might find I'm more trouble than I'm worth, but I promise I'm interesting." Varkin's smile widened slightly, though it still carried a weight of power that made Alex's knees feel weak. "Interesting," he repeated. "Yes, perhaps you are. Humans adapt quickly. You survive in situations most species would find unbearable. I wish to see how far that adaptability goes." Alex's mind raced. Adaptability? Survival? This was no longer about negotiation. This was something else entirely. They had to keep their wits about them. "Then I suppose we'll have to test that," Alex said lightly, though their pulse raced with anticipation. Varkin's massive frame shifted slightly, and he stepped closer, each movement deliberate and heavy, like a predator circling something it is not yet ready to devour. Alex didn't move back. Instead, they stood tall, relying on the calm confidence they had cultivated through years of facing danger. "You humans, you believe yourselves clever," Varkin said. "Yet cleverness without courage is meaningless. You will demonstrate both while here." Alex blinked. "Demonstrate?" they swallowed. "I'm willing to try, but I'll need some context first. What exactly do you want?" Varkin's smile remained, though his eyes glimmered with something unreadable. I want to understand you, human, not just your words, but your actions. Your resourcefulness, your humor, and perhaps in the process I will teach you something as well. Alex's initial fear began to shift into cautious curiosity. This was unlike any mission they had ever undertaken. A warlord who sought understanding, who valued wit and adaptability. This was both terrifying and exhilarating. They spent the next hours in tense but surprisingly engaging dialogue. Varkin asked questions about human culture, behavior, and strategy. Alex answered honestly, relying on charm and humor to navigate the subtle traps in the warlord's questions. Every response they gave was analyzed, every joke measured for reaction. At one point, Alex noticed a small panel on the wall flicker. It seemed a minor detail, but it caught their attention immediately. "Interesting technology you have here," Alex remarked casually, moving closer to examine it. "I imagine a species that can manipulate energy at this level must have fascinating approaches to problem solving." Varkin's eyes followed their movements, not with suspicion, but with clear interest. "Yes, observation is key. You see more than you realize, human. That is admirable." Alex allowed themselves a small smile. They were learning, slowly, that this encounter was not about physical threat. It was a test of intellect, intuition, and adaptability. And they were determined not to fail. As the hours passed, the initial tension in the room began to transform. Alex realized that the locked doors, the initial intimidation, were not threats. They were an invitation. An invitation to demonstrate humanity's resilience and cleverness in a way no one had ever appreciated before. By the time the first shift of Zarathian light passed, Alex was no longer simply a captive. They were a participant in a subtle, high-stakes game of wits with one of the galaxy's most powerful beings. And while fear had been their first reaction, curiosity had replaced it. As they sat across from Varkin, the warlord's smile now seemed almost approving. Alex allowed themselves to think that perhaps humans had more to offer the universe than anyone, even an alien warlord, had realized. Humor, adaptability, courage, these traits were more than survival tools. They were proof that humanity could stand among the stars with intelligence and creativity unmatched by more powerful species. And deep down, Alex knew that this first encounter was only the beginning. The real test, the one that would truly prove the ingenuity and spirit of humans, was yet to come. For now, they were trapped in a room with a being who could crush them instantly, but Alex Monroe was not afraid. They were already planning, already observing, already thinking 3 steps ahead. And in a universe full of unknowns, that was exactly the kind of human advantage that could turn even the most dangerous encounter into a story of triumph. The soft hum of the chamber walls filled the silence after their long conversation. Alex Monroe leaned back slightly, still studying Varkin the Red. The warlord's eyes glimmered with a mix of curiosity and amusement, as if he were pondering a puzzle he had never encountered before. Alex realized that the tension in the room had shifted. It was no longer simply about fear or intimidation. It was a subtle contest of wit, intelligence, and creativity. Varkin's massive fingers tapped a rhythm on the edge of the table. "Humans are unpredictable," he said finally, his voice resonating like a low drum. "You speak with confidence, yet you measure every word, you observe carefully, you survive situations most species would fail." Alex smiled faintly. "That's one of our strengths," they said. "We learn quickly, and when necessary, we improvise." The warlord's smile widened slightly. "Improvise, yes, that is why I wish to test you further." He leaned forward, his amber eyes locking with Alex's. "There is a problem aboard this ship. It is not life-threatening yet, but it requires ingenuity. If you succeed, I will gain knowledge of your species' true potential. If you fail, the consequences will remain contained to this room." Alex's pulse quickened, but they nodded. "I'm ready," they said. Curiosity had replaced fear. This was not a punishment, it was an opportunity. Varkin led Alex to a section of the ship filled with complex machinery and glowing panels. The room hummed with power, and the lights danced across intricate wires and conduits. "This is a propulsion control module," Varkin explained. "A minor fault has developed. I want you to analyze it and propose a solution." Alex stepped closer, scanning the panels. The technology was advanced, far beyond Terran engineering, but the principles were not entirely foreign. Energy flows, circuit stability, feedback loops. Human science shared basic rules with alien science. Alex's mind began to work quickly, tracing potential problems, analyzing possibilities. Varkin watched silently, observing every movement, every pause, every gesture. Alex realized that the Warlord's interest was genuine. He was not seeking to humiliate or dominate. They were being measured, studied, understood. "This panel here," Alex said, pointing to a small conduit that flickered intermittently, "seems unstable. The feedback loop is overcompensating for minor fluctuations in energy flow. If we reroute this line temporarily and stabilize the sensors, it should prevent cascading errors." Varkin nodded slowly. "Interesting. Your logic is sound, but you must act quickly. Time is critical." A slower response would allow instability to spread. Alex's hands moved deftly over the controls. They rerouted conduits, adjusted energy thresholds, and recalibrated sensors. It was delicate work, requiring both precision and intuition. Sweat dotted their brow, not from fear but concentration. After several tense minutes, the panels stabilized. The flickering lights ceased, and the hum of the room became steady and calm. Alex stepped back, breathing heavily but satisfied. Varkin's deep chuckle reverberated through the room. "Impressive," he said. "You solve problems not by brute force but by thought and creativity. Humans possess a flexibility most species lack. This is commendable." Alex allowed themselves a small grin. "Thank you. It's what we do best, adapt and think quickly." Varkin studied them closely. "You are not like other creatures I have encountered. Most would panic or attempt direct force. You consider, you observe, and you improvise. There is potential here that I had underestimated." The human felt a surge of pride. This was more than mere praise. This was recognition of humanity itself. Cleverness, adaptability, courage, these were not just personal traits. They were the proof of what humans could achieve when faced with challenges beyond their understanding. Over the next several hours, Varkin continued to test Alex with a series of increasingly complex problems. Some involved technical puzzles, like repairing damaged communication modules or recalibrating energy shields. Others were strategic, requiring Alex to anticipate potential scenarios and propose solutions that balanced risk and reward. Each time, Alex succeeded, combining logic with intuition and human creativity. What amazed Alex most was the Warlord's demeanor. Varkin never demanded compliance. He guided subtly, observing choices, probing reactions, encouraging thought. It was not a test of strength, it was a test of intellect and spirit. During a brief pause, Alex leaned against a console, catching their breath. "You're not like I expected," they said. "I thought a warlord would want domination first, understanding later. You seem different." Varkin's amber eyes softened slightly, though the intensity remained. "Many assume power requires intimidation and fear. But strength without understanding is hollow. To wield true influence, one must comprehend the minds of others. Humans, you are fascinating. You are bold, adaptable, clever, and unafraid to take risks. These qualities are rare in the galaxy." Alex felt a thrill of satisfaction. This was more than surviving. They were impressing, even teaching the most powerful being in the room. "I appreciate that," Alex said. "And I hope you've learned something about us humans. We're unpredictable, yes, but in ways that can be surprisingly effective." Varkin chuckled again, a sound that shook the chamber walls. "Indeed, you humans remind me that creativity and courage are not to be underestimated. Perhaps this encounter will teach me more than I expected." As the day passed, Alex began to notice small changes in the Warlord's behavior. He offered subtle guidance rather than commands, allowed room for trial and error, and even showed glimpses of humor, albeit in his alien, imposing way. Alex realized that mutual respect was growing between them. What began as a tense standoff had transformed into a cooperative engagement, each learning from the other. Later, when Alex requested a moment to rest, Varkin allowed it. The humans settled in a corner of the chamber, reflecting on the events of the day. They had entered the ship as a captive in all but name, with fear and uncertainty gnawing at them. Now they felt a cautious confidence. Humans were proving their value not through strength alone, but through ingenuity, courage, and adaptability. When Alex awoke from a brief rest, Varkin was waiting, sitting with a calm posture that conveyed patience and attention. "Your species is remarkable," he said simply. "I expected a creature driven by instinct, not intellect. Yet here you stand, solving problems, navigating challenges, and demonstrating qualities I admire. You are more than what I anticipated." Alex smiled faintly. I told you humans are interesting. The warlord's eyes gleamed. Yes, interesting and resilient, but I sense there is more. You have not revealed all of your species' potential. There are qualities yet unseen, strengths yet untapped. I wish to continue this observation. Alex nodded, feeling both excitement and responsibility. They were not just representing themselves, they were representing humanity. Every action, every decision, every bit of creativity demonstrated here could shape how the galaxy perceived humans. In the days that followed, the interactions continued. Alex taught Varkin some human problem-solving techniques while learning about alien strategies in return. They discussed human culture, history, and humor, while Varkin shared insights into Zyrathian philosophy and technology. Mutual curiosity fostered respect, and respect fostered a tentative friendship built on admiration and shared intellect. One afternoon, Varkin presented a challenge that combined all aspects of Alex's skills. A minor system malfunction had created a delicate balance problem in the ship's energy core. Any misstep could cause a shutdown, but solving it required technical knowledge, strategic thinking, and creative intuition. Alex examined the situation, noting the flickering panels and unstable energy flows. They realized that a direct approach would fail. Instead, they devised a multi-step solution. Reroute auxiliary power temporarily, stabilize feedback loops, and implement a predictive control system to prevent future instability. It was complex, risky, and required precise timing. Varkin observed silently as Alex worked, his eyes tracking every calculation, every movement. Alex's hands moved confidently over the controls, adjusting energy levels and calibrating systems. The tension was palpable, but Alex's focus never wavered. Finally, the panels stabilized, the hum of energy smooth and steady once more. Alex stepped back, breathing deeply, their chest swelling with pride. Varkin's smile was broad and genuine this time. "Impressive," he said. "You do not rely on brute strength. You use intellect, creativity, and courage. Humans, you are more than I imagined. Perhaps the galaxy has underestimated your species for too long." Alex allowed themselves a grin. "Maybe it has, but we're not finished yet. There's always more to learn, more to adapt, more to overcome." Varkin nodded, a rare moment of genuine approval in his imposing presence. "Yes, more to learn and more to teach. This partnership may yet become something extraordinary." As Alex left the energy core chamber, they felt a deep sense of accomplishment. They had survived, yes, but they had also proven the ingenuity, courage, and adaptability that made humans unique. More than that, they had begun to build trust and respect with one of the galaxy's most powerful beings. The warlord who had seemed terrifying hours ago was now an ally in observation, a partner in exploration of intellect and strategy. And Alex knew that the true test, the challenge that would define humanity's place in this corner of the galaxy, was still ahead. But for the first time, they felt certain that humans had what it took not just to survive, but to thrive, even among the stars. The soft hum of the flagship's engines filled the corridors as Captain Alex Monroe walked beside Varkin the Red. The human felt a strange mixture of awe and determination. What had begun as a tense standoff had transformed into something extraordinary. Over the past days, Alex had demonstrated human adaptability, intelligence, and courage, earning the attention and respect of the formidable warlord. Now the real test awaited, a challenge that would solidify humanity's place not only in the warlord's eyes, but in the wider galaxy. Varkin moved silently through the corridors, his massive frame commanding attention, yet somehow blending with the elegant architecture of the ship. "There is an interstellar negotiation underway," he said, his deep voice reverberating. "Several species are at odds over territory and trade. Your insight may prevent conflict, human." Alex nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility. "I'll do my best," they said. "I think humans can offer a perspective that others might overlook." Varkin's amber eyes glimmered with approval. "Yes, you have proven that you see patterns and possibilities others miss. Observe carefully. Listen. And remember, every action carries consequence." The two entered a massive chamber where representatives from multiple species were gathered. The room buzzed with tension. Alien delegates murmured among themselves, their gestures sharp and impatient. The air felt thick with anticipation, as if the slightest misstep could ignite a conflict. Alex took a deep breath and reminded themselves that observation, patience, and human ingenuity had served them well so far. Varkin gestured toward the central console. You will present a solution, human. Not force, not intimidation, but strategy, collaboration, and creativity. Alex stepped forward, their mind working quickly. They had observed the behavior of each delegate, the aggressive posturing of the Krell, the cautious diplomacy of the Lothar, and the subtle manipulations of the Sari. Each species had strengths and weaknesses, just as humans did. They realized that the key was not to dominate, but to find a solution that leveraged cooperation while respecting differences. Clearing their throat, Alex addressed the assembly. "Honored delegates," they began, "I understand the tensions present here. Each of you has valuable interests, and each of you brings perspectives that can benefit the galaxy. Conflict arises when we see only our goals and not the shared opportunities around us. I propose a strategy where each species contributes according to its strengths, ensuring that no one is left behind while achieving collective stability." Whispers spread through the room. Some delegates looked skeptical, others intrigued. Alex continued, calmly outlining a plan that balanced trade routes, resource sharing, and territorial agreements. They used clear logic, simple explanations, and relatable examples. When one delegate objected, Alex listened, acknowledged their concern, and integrated a solution that accommodated the objection without compromising the overall strategy. Varkin watched silently, his massive hands folded. His expression remained unreadable, but Alex felt a subtle shift, a hint of pride or satisfaction hidden beneath his alien features. The Warlord's presence was both intimidating and reassuring, a reminder that every word and action mattered. Hours passed as the negotiation unfolded. Alex guided the discussion, using humor to ease tension and logic to resolve disputes. They noticed that the Krell delegates' initial hostility softened when Alex proposed a compromise that gave the species strategic advantages while protecting others' interests. The Sari, known for cunning tactics, began to respect the clarity and fairness of the proposal. Even the cautious Lothar seemed convinced by the humans' careful reasoning. Finally, a consensus began to emerge. Alex summarized the agreement, highlighting the benefits for each species while emphasizing the value of cooperation. The delegates, once tense and suspicious, now nodded and murmured approval. A sense of relief and achievement spread through the chamber. Varkin's voice cut through the murmurs. "You have done well, human," he said, his tone carrying weight and sincerity. "You have demonstrated that influence need not come from strength alone. Strategy, creativity, and understanding can achieve what brute force cannot. Humans, you are extraordinary." Alex allowed themselves a modest smile. "Thank you. It's what humans do best, adapt, think, and find solutions even when the odds seem impossible." After the negotiation, Varkin led Alex back to a quiet corridor. The human's heart still raced from the intensity of the discussions. "You have proven not only your intelligence but your courage," Varkin said. "You acted decisively, guided by observation and understanding, and you avoided unnecessary conflict. Few species could do what you have achieved today." Alex felt a surge of pride. "It wasn't just me," they said. "Humans are good at learning from experience and using it to solve problems. I just had the chance to apply it here." The Warlord nodded. "Yes, your species' adaptability, creativity, and resourcefulness are remarkable. I now understand why humans survive and thrive where others fail. Perhaps the galaxy has underestimated you for too long." As they continued through the corridors, Alex noticed subtle changes in the ship's atmosphere. Varkin's officers treated them with a measure of respect, observing the human with curiosity rather than suspicion. Alex realized that their actions had begun to shift perceptions. Humanity's ingenuity and courage were not just traits, they were a symbol of potential and hope. Later, Varkin brought Alex to a panoramic observation deck. The stars stretched infinitely, a dazzling canvas of light and color. The human gazed at the galaxy, feeling a mixture of awe and determination. "It's beautiful," Alex said softly. "And there's so much to explore, so much to learn." Varkin stood beside them, silent for a moment. Then he spoke, his voice low and thoughtful. "Indeed, and the galaxy is vast, full of challenges and opportunities. You have shown me that humans are capable of remarkable things. Your species can survive, adapt, and influence even in situations others cannot. That is valuable." Alex turned to face the Warlord. Thank you, Varkin. I think we've learned from each other. Humans and Zyrathians both have strengths, and together we can achieve more than alone. Varkin's smile, now rare and genuine, curved across his massive features. Yes, together we may redefine what is possible. Your courage, creativity, and adaptability, these are qualities that can change the course of events. Humans are a species worth observing, studying, and perhaps even trusting. Alex felt a warmth of satisfaction. They had survived the initial encounter, demonstrated the full range of human ingenuity, and built a tentative bridge between species that had once seemed impossible to connect. The adventure had begun with a single joke, a locked door, and an intimidating warlord. Now it had evolved into a partnership grounded in respect, understanding, and shared goals. Over the next days, Alex and Varkin continued to work together, addressing minor conflicts, improving communication systems, and sharing knowledge. Alex introduced human strategies for problem-solving and negotiation, while Varkin offered insights into Zyrathian technology and philosophy. Each exchange strengthened trust and fostered mutual respect. Alex began to see the full impact of their efforts. Delegates from other species approached with cautious curiosity, seeking guidance and collaboration. Humans, once underestimated, were now seen as capable mediators, innovators, and problem-solvers. Alex realized that the galaxy was beginning to recognize human potential not through force, but through intelligence, creativity, and courage. One evening, Alex found themselves alone on the observation deck, reflecting on the journey. The stars stretched endlessly, and the vastness of space felt both intimidating and inspiring. They thought about how a simple joke had led to this incredible opportunity, how human humor, adaptability, and courage had turned a potentially dangerous encounter into a moment of triumph. Varkin joined them silently, standing beside the human as they gazed at the stars. "You have exceeded my expectations, Captain Monroe," he said. "Humans are more resilient, creative, and courageous than I imagined. You have proven that influence comes not from strength alone, but from understanding, adaptability, and collaboration." Alex smiled. "I think humans have a lot to offer. We're not perfect, but we find ways to solve problems and survive, even thrive, when it seems impossible. That's who we are." Varkin's eyes glimmered with approval. "Indeed. You have shown me that humans are a species worth knowing, worth trusting. Perhaps this is the beginning of something greater, a partnership that can shape the future of the galaxy." Alex felt a surge of hope and determination. They had begun as a captive in an alien warlord's ship, faced challenges that seemed impossible, and demonstrated humanity's strengths in ways that earned respect and trust. The journey had been difficult, but it had proven one undeniable truth. Humans were adaptable, courageous, creative, and capable of achieving extraordinary things. As they stood together, gazing at the endless expanse of stars, Alex realized that this was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, full of challenges and opportunities, but humans had already shown that they could meet any challenge with ingenuity and courage. The partnership with Varkin promised new adventures, new discoveries, and new ways to demonstrate the unique strengths of humanity. And in that moment, Alex knew that the human spirit, bold, clever, and unyielding, would continue to shine brightly among the stars, proving to all species that humanity was not to be underestimated. The locked door that had once symbolized fear and uncertainty was now a memory, replaced by trust, respect, and the recognition of human potential. Alex Monroe, representative of the Terran Alliance, had not only survived but had illuminated a path for humans to thrive in the galaxy. And the stars, endless and full of promise, awaited.